like you. I want to welcome you into the Lioness Den, and today we're going to talk about the global outage of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and how people were absolutely losing their minds. I found it to be quite fascinating, mostly because I had decided a long time ago that I was not going to be addicted to social media any longer. And what I mean by that is, listen, I've been on social media since these apps have come out, and definitely as like phone technology has drastically and really rapidly improved. I was kind of keeping up with the Joneses, so I would be, especially on Facebook, I would be on Facebook all the time. Now I remember Facebook. Hey y'all, hit the like button and share this broadcast. I remember Facebook when it was in its beta testing phase, so at first, and this happened when I was in college. You already know I'm a Temple University undergraduate and graduate, a graduate from Temple University, undergrad and graduate school. So I did all of my academic work there, for the most part, in terms of my degrees. And I have done postgraduate work in other universities. But listen, so when I was at Temple as an undergrad, Mark Zuckerberg had launched Facebook in a beta testing phase, and it was really only for college students. And so I think that there were a handful of like Ivy League schools and tier 1 and tier 2 schools that were selected in its beta phase before it went public. So at first it started out as something for folks in academia to sort of communicate and share ideas. And when it hit and it was opened up to Temple University, I was like, okay, cool. Okay. Oh, shout out to my sis Aries, who really appreciated yesterday's broadcast about Law Non X. I saw some of the comments that folks uploaded under it. They were like, well, you keep giving it attention. I'm like, yeah. Well, who's giving it attention if y'all keep commenting under it? And if y'all missed the overall gist of that broadcast and the purpose as to why I covered it, along with Great Black Shark, y'all need to go back and listen again, or maybe it just went over your head. And if it's not your type of content, then it's just not for you. But anyway, when Facebook went live and it hit Temple University, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really enjoyed it because I was able to connect with like graduate students, undergraduate students, share ideas and like photos and, just basic stuff. But I was still leery of the internet, but I was not spending hours upon hours on it. Now, I used to be like in high school. Do y'all remember? I'm 37. So when I was in high school, some folks may have been younger or older, but when I was in high school, AOL Instant Messenger was like, it was everything. Like everybody was on AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. And then, at home we had the motor with the dial-up. You would connect to the internet and it would be like using a half of a telephone line or a separate telephone line. It would be like that little dial-up thing. And American Online was our service provider. And so we had AOL Instant Messenger. And then definitely had Black Planet. But again, listen, back in those days, you had to be logged into a computer. You had to be logged into a computer in order to access these social media technologies, those social media technologies rather, back in the day. Do y'all remember that? Right? Yes. And I was on MySpace. And so listen, but again, you had to be somewhere stationary and sitting down, like at home, because nobody was just going to let you come over to their house and like use their computers like for hours and hours. And even back in those days, like even if your grandparents had a computer at home or your aunt and your uncle, they would be like, what the hell are y'all doing? Hell no, you're not going to be on this computer or this technology for hours at a time. What are you looking at on there? Is that, no, go outside and go play or do something else. Go read a book, go read the encyclopedia, go read the dictionary. You better go read a chapter a day in the Bible because it will keep the devil away. Nobody was about to let you sit around on the internet, especially if you're a young person, to just go ahead and just be on the internet all the time. It just wasn't happening. But I bring up this point to illustrate the fact that when these social media technologies first hit the scene, we were literally stationary. You were on a computer. You were not. Excuse me. I don't know what is going on here. Let me go ahead and turn this thing off. Okay, cool. You were not just going around like walking around with your phone because there was no smartphone technology back in those days, right? You weren't just sitting anywhere in traffic or in class or at work on social media. It just wasn't happening. And so with the influx of social media apps being readily made available on tablets, iPads, and cell phones, people have really gotten addicted to this stuff. Have really, really, really gotten addicted. Okay. And it's like people are sharing what they ate for the day. People are putting up like what their children are doing every single day. Yes, you were online for like 30 minutes tops, and then you had to go. And remember, sometimes, like depending on your connection, if y'all had AOL like I had AOL, it would jam up the house phone line until we had to get a separate line just for like that dial-up modem. But and those were back in the days when you had to pay for long distance phone calls. So you were on there, you were checking your email, you were Googling something, doing some research, or you were looking on Black Planet, and then you were off. In my house, there was no being on the damn internet, for hours and hours and hours at a time, unless you would sneak on late night to see what folks were doing on MySpace or on Black Planet. Y'all remember those days. So, when Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram went down yesterday, y'all, people were losing their ever-loving minds. So I want to go ahead and do this, take care of some housekeeping. I want to welcome y'all into the Lioness Den. I'm your sister, Lioness Crowns. And remember to get your tickets to the allblacknationalconvention.com. It's the 6th annual. Go over to allblacknationalconvention.com and join us in Orlando, October 29th through November the 1st. And if you can't join in person, definitely just purchase your tickets for the virtual to access us virtually. And if you're staying in Orlando, go over to abnchotel.com to get your hotel discount. Shout out to Dual. All right, so listen, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Listen, I'm from the beeper era. I could do without the internet. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I remember my father bought me a pager because I would do a lot of activities and extracurriculars and stuff. And I don't know, he just had, he put one on a plan, and he would like put certain codes in, or remember spelling numbers differently. You turn the pager or the beeper upside down and you can actually read the messages. Those were the good old days. So Aries said I had to go to the library to get on the internet. Absolutely. So look, this article I saw about this outage really piqued my interest, and I wanted to share it with you all. And this is going to be a really brief broadcast, but the title of this one is How Social Media Impacts Our Mental Health After Facebook Outage. And it's from thv11.com. All right. And I'm putting that in the chat. All right. Now the subtitle says, for some people, social media is woven into our everyday life. But after Facebook went down for 7 hours, it could have an impact on mental health. Little Rock, Arkansas. If you checked your Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram apps Monday, then you noticed they didn't seem to work. For 7.5 hours, starting at 11 a.m., the apps were down. Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp, and in its last update before restoration, Chief Technology Officer Mike Schroeder said, quote, "Sincere apologies to everyone impacted by outages of Facebook-powered services right now. We are experiencing networking issues, and teams are working as fast as possible to debug and restore as fast as possible," end quote. So that's what he said. Now, I'm going to just take a pause here from the article. Many people were calling and texting, and shout out to my brother, Great Black Shark. People were calling and texting yesterday, especially like, are your apps down? And I was like, yeah. And it was like, man, this is global. Like, this is making international news. This is a big deal. I don't believe it's a glitch. There could be something bigger and more sinister going on. I don't know. And then a lot of people, and I'm just telling y'all what people were saying, people were using words like global reset. All right. So some people were actually shook, and some people felt vindicated, like, yep, we knew they were going to do something. Maybe they're updating their systems to put a different type of technology in there. Who knows what they're doing? But we found it quite interesting that Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp went down the day before the whistleblower who formerly worked at Facebook, her last name is Hogan, before she testified to Congress about safety issues and issues with children and things and their algorithms for Facebook. And she used to work there. And so I actually listened to her testimony this morning. But y'all make sure y'all hit the like button and share this broadcast. It's going to be really brief because I have an appointment coming up soon, per usual. Listen, the article says, while sites may be back up and running, the impact of the outage is felt loud and clear. The outage generated tons of online reaction on other social media platforms like Twitter. All three of the verified Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram accounts on Twitter posted that they were working on restoring service. Why did it take them 7.5 hours, and what the heck were they actually doing? So it says #Facebook down garnered funny memes along with worrisome tweets about the effects of the outage. Quote, it's the first thing I checked, and then the next thing you know, I couldn't log in, said Jackson, who tried logging onto Facebook in Monday morning. Quote, I was kind of upset because I can't scroll through my feed or respond to anybody I know. So I was just kind of upset about it, end quote. So this person, Jackson Teague, said people's lives revolve around social media a lot and they don't have it. And if they don't have it, there's chaos. Do y'all believe this statement? Let me go ahead and put it in the chat. Make sure y'all hit the like button. You're tuned in and tapped into the Lioness Den. Remember to go over to flynubianpower.com. That's flynubianpower.com. And definitely sign up for Unapologetic Black Power with Lioness Crown. So Teague said, people's lives revolve around social media a lot. And if they don't have it, there's chaos. Y'all agree with this or y'all disagree? Give me a 1 if y'all agree. Give me a 2 if you disagree. Do people's lives revolve around social media? And is there chaos when they cannot access social media? 1 for yes and 2 for no. Y'all let me know what y'all saying in the chat. Now, the article goes on to read, hold on. The article goes on to say, Daniel Lilly agreed. He said he's used to being in Facebook jail, so the outage is a soft blow. Daniel Lilly agreed. He said he's used to being on Facebook. Is my voice coming from? Facebook jail, so the outage is a soft blow. It's coming from my phone. I was like, what? That is creepy. I don't know if y'all, I feel this way. I know I be on here on Fly Nubian Queen, but sometimes I be hearing my voice. I'm like, all right. So I'm seeing all the ones in the chat. That was quite funny. So y'all do agree that a lot of people's lives do revolve around Facebook. And if they don't have it, if they can't access it, that there is chaos. Interesting. So it says, so this dude named Daniel Lilly is saying he's always in Facebook jail. So the outage didn't really affect him that much. Quote, when I'm in Facebook jail, it's kind of hard the first couple of days to not interact with people I've never met in real life, but that are really good friends and live in far places. You don't know what's going on with their lives, and it's a part of your daily routine to check in with them, end quote, Lilly said. Gene Hampton said he's not as obsessed with social media, but the outage still had his trying to reload his account. So he was constantly trying to reload his accounts over and over again. I know people tried that hundreds of times yesterday because they just could not deal with the fact that the apps were not working. So Demetrius says 2. Disagree. Got it. Best Life says 1. I see y'all in the chat. So this is what Gene Hampton said. Quote, I thought maybe the internet was down, but I don't. I kept trying and trying. I'm not too big on Instagram. That's for the younger generation, but I'm not somebody that just needs my phone all the time. I can leave it at home. It's not the end of the world, end quote, said Hampton. Dr. Howard Turney is head of the social work program at UA Little Rock and said the constant use of social media apps, especially by younger people, can build anxiety and depression with the constant struggle of comparing lives online. Let's go ahead and stop here. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take a part of this quote because it's a pretty long paragraph. And I'm going to put this here and let's sit with this for a second because that's what the whistleblower, Miss Hogan, that's what she's talking about today with Congress, right? That She was really concerned, though, the whistleblower who testified in Congress, who used to work for Facebook, who no longer works there, was concerned that Facebook's algorithms promote harmful things to children, and the impact on girls, especially in body image, is negative. This is a white woman, by the way. And she was saying that a lot of the ads and things that are promoted to children cause depression and also poor body image issues and anorexia and things like that. Now, this article, the professor here, professor of social work, is saying the constant use of social media apps, especially by younger people, can build anxiety and depression with a constant struggle of comparing lives online. I agree. Thank you, Duel. I had that article pulled up about the whistleblower too, but I may not have time to get to it. So I would appreciate if y'all did your own research and take a look at what the whistleblower said this morning, because I listened to her testimony. People, first of all, one spiritual principle that I live by is that comparison is the thief of joy. Somebody type that in for me, please. Comparison is the thief of joy. Meaning that if you want to have peace of mind and joy, you should be fulfilled, from within yourself, and love yourself and be happy and content with who you are, where you are, what you are, and what you have. Thank you. Right? I see somebody, y'all typing that in. But when you're constantly on social media and you're comparing the images of and sounds of other people's lives and what they have and what they do in their relationship and their home and their children and their cars or their new job or their new dress that they're wearing or the fact that they're on vacation, all of these other things, like people get wrapped up in that, right? And it sucks your joy away. And people get caught up with, or they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Y'all know what the old folks used to say, keeping up with the Joneses, right? So if you want to maintain and hold your peace and your joy, you should never compare yourself to anybody, right? Comparison, competition, all of those things are now non-constructive, right? And they are counterintuitive to building a healthy self-image. Now, a lot of people are narcissistic, right? Facebook, Instagram are like, it's like a playground for narcissists, basically. So folks are constantly comparing themselves to other people, and then people are also bragging on social media about what they have, where they're going, where they've been, what they got, etc., in order to make themselves seem happier than they actually are in real life, because many people are just miserable and suffering on the inside, but they find joy in bragging and showing, things on social media that may make other folks envious or feel jealous. It's a lot of bad energy out there, y'all. Yeah, it's a breeding ground for narcissists. Exactly. Seeking external validation. Now, the mindful consumer, shout out to the mindful consumer, y'all. The mindful consumer knows that in order for some of us who are codified to keep in contact and to have constructive conversations, and mindful consumer or B1 scholars, don't put it in the chat. Don't put it in the chat, please, right? Those who know, and those who don't know, they don't know. But when asked about where we should create a platform that is constructive to share information, articles, medias, etc., there was a lot of social media platforms that we could have chosen, but I chose one. I chose a specific platform in particular that drowns out all the noise and keeps the conversations and discussions focused on constructive things. Because, to Black Power's point, because social media is such a toxic environment, right? We have to build our own apps, build other platforms, and really control platforms so that we drown out all of the negativity. Because a lot of folks are using social media to compare themselves to other people, and especially young people, children, right, who are looking for external validation, right? Or yes, and people who have consumer mindsets. Because what Mark Zuckerberg has done, he's built a platform that thrives off of like advertisements and these algorithms that peddle certain information, for example, to Black folks, right? Consumerism, like we get all these consumerism type ads. And one of the things that the whistleblower highlighted this morning to my point is that white folks receive advertisements in their algorithms on Facebooks, for example, about home loans and mortgages and property and other types of programs that are going to help them build immediate wealth and generational wealth, right? But Black folks, we get advertisements about like materialism or entertainment or news sources. It's about gossip and all of these other things. These algorithms are determining what we see, and unfortunately folks internalize that, and and it really has an impact now. And again, people are using social media apps to find themselves, to live vicariously through other people. They're using social media to spy on folks, right? To hate on other people, right? And then some folks are using social media to brag, and show off. Now, y'all remember what we've been learning about the 4 show-offisms that Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. talks about all the time, right? People are using social media apps to twerk and show off what the white supremacist has allowed us to learn, or allowed them to learn, to show off the things that the system of white supremacy or the white supremacists have allowed them to buy or gain, like material things. People use social media in order to show off how badly or how well they can belittle another Black
Middleton
person.
Has been voted best of the best for 24 years straight because we're here when you need us.
How badly or how well they are able to make sexual impressions onto another Black person or prisoner of war or victim of white supremacy. Those are the 4 show-offisms. Showing off what the white supremacist has allowed you to know, right, in terms of your degrees, going into their schools, the information they allow you to get. Showing off the material possessions that the white supremacists have allowed you to obtain. Thirdly, to show off one's ability to belittle another Black person or victim of white supremacy. And the 4th one is to show off one's ability to make sexual impressions onto another victim of white supremacy. Those are the 4 show-offisms. So, the article here just goes on and on about the funny memes that people posted. But then also, to our point, this Dr. Howard Turney is the head of the social work program at UA Little Rock, and said the constant use of social media apps, especially by younger people, can build anxiety and depression with the constant struggle of comparing lives online. Quote, this is what the doctor said. There would be a little panic among folks that are really attached to the Facebook community and the Instagram community, because they get some of their identity from the way that they present themselves and the way others see them, end quote, Turney said. It doesn't help when people have to utilize social media for their jobs. With the apps going down for the time it did, it left room for people to rethink how much they rely on them. Quote, I think it often depends so much on how much emotional energy that you put into social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, Dr. Turney said. All right, so that's the end of that article. I'm going to close that thing out because I don't want anything else to pop up in the background, right? So, yeah, some of us do utilize social media for work. Yeah, and a lot of people invite folks into their lives on social media because it's all fun and cute to show off, and then later on they regret it. I don't know if y'all realize this or notice this about me, but first of all, let me just name the fact that I am loving. Thank you so much, minding my business. I am loving having my camera off today. Let's just be clear. Love it. I don't get any sort of like validation or external joy or anything in being seen, or, like, I love being on Fly Nubian Queen because we're able to have real codified discussions. I'm able to use the Lioness Den as a place for us to really talk, share ideas, to study, examine the global prison system of white supremacy, to discuss ways in which we can be solution oriented and produce justice, meaning guaranteeing that no person is mistreated and guaranteeing that the person who needs help the most always gets the most constructive help. I enjoy building with folks who are like-minded and be one and who are in a commitment to produce justice. I enjoy using Fly Nubian Queen and what Dr. Boyce Watkins has created to allow, a platform that has a wide reach that allows Black women, us, to share our ideas that go against the grain of the mainstream lamestream, right? That is dominated by white liberal, white supremacists, and right-wing white supremacists, right? So we have our niche, we have our lane. I'm really grateful for that. Yes, I will be keeping my camera off more often because I feel very comfortable this way as well. But what I'm saying is first of all, I'm not on Instagram or Facebook a lot. I deleted all of those apps from my phone. I don't even have WhatsApp anymore because I just don't need it. And I don't have Facebook or Instagram or any social media, Clubhouse. None of that is on my cell phone at all. Why is it not on my cell phone? It's not on my cell phone because I have more constructive things to do, right? Y'all see me come in to the Lioness Den weekdays, normally at 12 p.m. Eastern time, to have conversations with y'all and for us to share ideas and to do the Lioness Den. And quite frankly, outside of that, I don't want all of that toxicity in my life. I don't want to be bombarded or distracted with things that are not helping me to heal, to grow, spiritually, especially, or academically. And then also, I don't need the added distractions that are going to take time away from the actual work that I do in my professional life, which is, producing justice and dismantling systems of anti-Black racism, white supremacy in media, politics, and especially in education. I don't have time for the distraction. I don't want to be bombarded with the negativity. Now, there's some good things that I do learn and notice and see on social media, but I am in full control in terms of when I want to expose myself to that and not. I don't even have the temptation to go onto my phone and be like, oh, what's on Twitter right now? Because I don't have Twitter on my phone, literally. So I've made it hard. Thank you so much. I've made it hard for myself to become addicted or attached to any of this stuff, to be attached or addicted to what somebody else is doing. And quite frankly, I love people. I love my people. But I'm not wrapped up into folks so much so that I need to see every single thing that they're doing, right? Or what they're eating or all of that stuff. And quite frankly, I was told directly, Ma Bello, shout out to my professor, Baina Bello, out of Haiti. She discouraged folks from putting pictures of their babies, especially on the internet. Right. And she was like, for me, definitely when I have mine, don't put them on the internet. But, folks, it's kind of cute. I like looking at baby pictures as well. But some things just need to be private. People put up their marriages. They put up their relationships. They put up every single thing where they are in the moment on the internet. And it's just not necessarily especially I'll just speak for me. It's not the smartest, safest, thing to do. Right. But I have made it hard for myself to access social media because we don't need it. I don't need that energy in my life. We have more constructive things. And then also I value quiet time. When I tell y'all I'm in the house right now. I can sit with no technology on, right? I like playing music, but sometimes I just like silence, peace, meditation. Don't need all of that noise or, all of this stuff taking up mental real estate in my head. We don't need that. Right. So, but again, sadly, some people were shook because they are so reliant. They are so reliant on social media. And so that's why I found this meme to put up. Now, this meme was put up back in 2019 when there was a Facebook outage in 2019. It says, scared you today, didn't I? And it's a picture of Mark Zuckerberg. Some folks were shook. What was my mindset? My mindset wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to go I need to figure out what so-and-so is doing, and I need these apps, and I need to. Nope, that wasn't my mindset. Instinctively, I was like, if social media went down, what else might go down? Right? I had questions. My mindset was, okay, survival mindset. Are banking apps going to stop working? Will electronic transfers stop working? How will this impact the stock market? Right? If this is a problem, because we didn't really know what was happening with Facebook at this time. So I was less wrapped up in being able to get this technology to work. I was more so looking at saying, okay, what else could possibly happen, right, that could have real catastrophic impacts because this technology isn't working? Is it tied to something else? What the hell is going on? That's where my mindset went. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to be on social media. Absolutely not. I actually enjoy not being on social media. I actually enjoyed not being on social media. So my brother says folks were having nervous cyber tics. They couldn't get their dose of digital cocaine. The IG zombies were panicking. LOL. You know what? And then honestly, a lot of this stuff, you know, Facebook, and I'm going to have to go, these social media platforms thrive off of people's vanity, right? Vanity of vanities. All things are vanity and vexation of spirit. People thrive off of vanity. People thrive off of gossip, and people are actually really comfortable with being distracted. I'm just not one of those people. Now, I used to be on Facebook a lot, like sharing like political things and, you know, giving my analysis on things and sharing my ideas. And quite frankly, I'm like, yo, if people want my ideas, they can pay me to consult and share my ideas, or I can volunteer and teach and, like, you know, share my ideas. But quite frankly, I'm not giving away all of my intellectual property to the internet. I'm not giving away my intellectual property. And then I'm also like, I don't need a bullhorn. I don't need an amen corner. And I don't need to find ways to be validated or affirmed by getting people to like or endorse my ideas or my pictures or what I'm wearing or what I'm eating or whatever. I just don't. It all comes from within. It comes from within. It comes from, you know, I want to be validated by my mentors. I want to be, you know, I want to be affirmed and given a pat on the back by like Mr. Bob Law, you know what I'm saying? Or and my grandparents and my community and my family and like other folks that I respect who are actually doing the work. I don't need, you know, I don't need all that stuff. So I just wanted to just come on for a few minutes because I do have to go. I just wanted to come on a few minutes and just share that I found it quite interesting that a lot of folks were really having panic attacks. Facebook wasn't just down for an hour or 5 minutes or 30 minutes. In some places, it was down for like 7.5 hours. Now, I think that if we would have gone anywhere between 24 hours to 3 days, 24 to 72 hours, I think that we would have seen people like legit wigging out in society. That's what I think. But I just wanted to come on and share my ideas. Don't be a social media zombie, y'all. I mean, if y'all want to take those apps off your phone, go do something constructive, you know, supplement that time, like reading a book or looking at a documentary, or even like doing a service project, or even just resting, or even just engaging in some level of self-love and self-care, right? Or maybe even having a direct conversation with someone, maybe picking up the phone, or if you can safely. I know there's things floating around out there that can make people sick, but, you know, safely building with folks and getting to see them in person, right? So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much. Shout out to Black Voltron Reloaded, my brother Great Black Shark, again, the Mindful Consumer, Dual I Am, Bracer Bow, my sister Aries, Felicia C, and everyone. Shout out to Joseph Washington, Kareem Weems, of course. So yeah, let's just be codified and be mindful of the impact that this stuff is having on children. Now, Dual I Am just posted this article from Forbes.com called Posting About Your Kids Online Could Damage Their Futures. Absolutely. I'm going to actually take a look at that one. Thank you for putting that up there. It could damage their futures. I mean, I don't know if I would want my parents putting anything about me and my life, my mistakes, or any of that, you know, like on the internet, or embarrassing moments, or just any, like, even good stuff, photos about me. You know, we need to safeguard our information and definitely protect our children's images and identities, but then also protect their sensibilities from non-constructive, harmful, you know, things like that encourage or groom them for pedophilia or encourage like bad behavior. Law non-X, for example. Shout out to my brother Christopher Ellis, who's also a B1 scholar. I want to remember to invite you all to go over to flynubianpower.com. We will have class tomorrow. Unapologetic Black Power does meet tomorrow. All right. Yep, these kids already have a digital footprint thanks to their parents. All right, y'all, I'm going to peace out. Gotta go. I really appreciate y'all. And the build today, I know Mark Zuckerberg scared many people. I know he scared many people, but don't get caught up in the matrix. Unplug from the matrix. Unplug from the matrix. All right, y'all. Well, final word goes to my B1 scholar, Christopher Ellis. He says, social media is not your personal journal. I concur. All right. This broadcast is ending, but so is global racism and white supremacy. We will trample this beast through fortitude, preparedness, and collectivism. And always remember that they stole us, they sold us, so they owe us. Unplug from the matrix, y'all. Until next time, peace and Black power.